Testing, 1, 2, 3, testing. Testing, 1, 2, 3, testing. Testing, 1, 2, 3, testing.
I can also, so if I've already got. Now.
You're right, no.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah.
I think I need to. Okay. Oh, you're on there.
Thank you. I appreciate this. Because I know you. It's like, sorry.
Well, they make it, which is fine, for y'all.
I just knew where it's from. You know, I like. Yes.
It's always very dangerous. That looks all that.
And it was good.
And I'm.
Oh, look, somebody just left me a sliver. Yes, there you go. Like, telling you, here, use it. It's all good, Kim. So I tried another, I had two numbers for him and the other number broke. So I don't know, but thank you.
You know, last month, everybody got late. So my 12-year-old had pneumonia. And she got the flu. Gave it to my wife. Named the tacos. Yes. Yes. Give it to 16. That's interesting. That's the only person that knows. I don't know, because everyone was coughing over me at times. What I am gonna say though, is it's probably my genetics because my wife and our 12-year-old, they were sick for like a month. The toddlers got it, they were sick for 3 days. Oh, so obviously it's my genetics. It's me. I know.
Very sorry. Yeah. No, we appreciate taking the time to be here. And since Mr. Smith is here, he'll be the voting member, but of course we want you to stay and. Absolutely. And all the time, even though Ms. Savetsky was the voting member.
Oh, that's fine hearing you.
I think he'll step in whenever he, he's on vacation. So I exactly. Just because they're here, so it's has to do with the yeah.
Fairly good. It's sometimes a base that goes. Your colors that they think. But I'm not seeing them.
At the end of the day.
Yep. There's a couple of
Yeah.
Okay, everybody. We have a friend, so take a seat. Are you in a hurry? All right. Be in the seats, people. Let's do this. I'm already 2 minutes behind schedule. I mean, it's time to get to speak. All under the ship. That's it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're gathering in. I'm good. How are you? Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our first in-person meeting because we did an online meeting last month. So let me just say to everyone, Happy New Year and welcome back. And we have a lineup for you, some new members, and I'm happy to see everyone. Okay. You want to start that now with this? Okay. Yeah, so we do have some new faces to the commission. So what we'll do is just go around and just make a quick brief introduction, introduce yourself. So I'm Vic Angry, Prince County, your chair. Let's come on with this.
Ralph Smith, Manassas Good, as secretary.
Gerald Moore, Manassas Clerk, Vice Mayor, and at-large.
Tom Gordy, represent the Bridgeville District in Prince William County. Fighting Brownsville.
Christine Rodriguez, your board clerk.
Legal counsel.
I am, I'm an alternate for Stafford County, Nate Conkey, representing the town district.
Tiffany Robinson, Director at the Department of Rail and Public Transportation. You won't often see me here because I'm usually at NBTC. I'm on alternate Todd Horsley is here, but I'm really excited to be here today.
Hey everyone, Kenny Bodie, representing back of Prince William County, the Occoquan district.
It's fine.
I'm gonna let you slide with that, cause I know Aquaporn.
You know what I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about. Dr. Pamela Young, represent the Garrisonville District, Stafford County. I am the primary and I serve with Supervisor Bonking on the Stafford County Board of Supervisors.
Margaret Franklin, Media Past Chair, Prince William Board of Supervisors, and welcome to everyone. Hello, everyone. Dr. Deborah Frazier, Pennsylvania, Virginia, Treasurer.
I'm Janet Holmes from Fredericksburg, and I'm council at large, so all of Fredericksburg, no districts or anything. And I'm vice chair.
Just a quick introduction.
Challenge. I'm going out. Misha Allen, Stafford County, member at large.
Karen Mills, alternate supervisor on your band.
All right. Okay, well, welcome everyone. Thanks for that introduction. Okay, so we're gonna get Mr. Lloyd up right quick to give a safety briefing presentation real quick.
Yeah.
Wow, yes.
And I just want to welcome all the commissioners, and I'm Byron Lloyd, the Director of Safety and Security for PRTC Omni Ride. Just give you a few fire prevention tips. One is smoke alarms. Please install them. Make sure to test it regularly and replace those batteries. And I know how some you hear that beep beep. I have been one of those people, but make sure you replace them often. Have an escape plan. All right, so when you come into a room or in your houses, make sure that you have 2 areas to exit. So you can see here we have this exit over here, and you will go down this hallway, and then there's an exit towards that we got the back and out the building. And then there's one here, and you go down the steps. You gotta use the elevator if we have any kind of emergency. Fire extinguishers, something I learned from our great executive director of how to use one a couple months ago when we had a brush fire. So make sure you understand, you let your staff and your family know if you have extinguishers, how to use them properly. And ensure easy access to those. Also, combustible materials, please keep them away from anything that can ignite them. So any ignition sources, keep that away. Make sure that you're prepared, family, co-workers for an event of an evacuation. Also, as my last is fire department access. A lot of people sometimes forget that when the firemen come in or any kind of EMT, please make sure the pathways are available and free from anything, and also any water sources in case they need to put a fire out. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Max. If we can just rise for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
No, I think we can proceed. Our PowerPoint is catching up with the agenda.
Okay, okay.
I don't think we want to meeting so that the PowerPoint can catch up.
No, it's just our.
All right, well, so I just need a motion, for.
Actually, we need to do the roll call.
Okay, there it is. Jump that, go ahead.
Victor Angry.
Here.
Ruben, Kenny Bodie.
Here.
Margaret Franklin here. Tom Bordy.
Here.
Bob Weir. Sean Jefferson. Karen Miss. Idris O'Connor. Kim Short. Yesley Vega. Tanisha Allen. She's here. She's stepped out. Dr. Pamela Young. Here. Meg Bunky. Here. Carol English. Ralph Smith.
Here.
Sonia Vasquez Luna. Here. Daryl Moore.
Here.
Alana Mensing. Shannon Holmes. Here. Will McIntosh. Deborah Frazier. Here. Lori Hayes. Jacob Lane. Kevin Marshall. Tiffany Robinson. Here. Todd Horsley. Rosa Henson Jr. Josh Thomas. Jeremy McCarthy. Commissioner Allen. Mr. Chairman, we do have a quorum, and I will mention that Meg Bumpy is an alternate, but the two voting members from Stafford are here, so you are not a voting member tonight. And also Sonia Vasquez Luna is not a voting member tonight.
Okay. Thank you very much. All right. Let's kind of get a motion to approve the agenda. So, second. Okay, we have a motion, Commissioner Moore, we have a second, Commissioner Gordon. All right, so now I can just go in favor. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Hearing none, the ayes have it. Thank you, ma'am. I need approval of the minutes. So moved. Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Bodie, second, Commissioner Holmes. I'm gonna get these this. Any discussion? No discussion, all in favor? All right, any opposed? Any abstentions? Hearing none, the ayes have it.
Here.
Thank you, yes, ma'am. All right, so we have two abstentions. Oh, yeah. Commissioner Robinson, Commissioner Allen. Three. And, okay. Thank you, Commissioner Short.
Robinson, Allen, and Short. Are there any other extensions to the minute?
Maybe I won't move so fast. And keep it with tradition and speed. Mr. Dalton, the floor is yours.
Chair, commission members and new commissioners, I think that met most of you, if not all of you, welcome to February. Just you do have the CEO report in your package and some information items from the January VRA operations board meeting, but I will just highlight a couple of things. First of all, we're continuing on our trend, if you will, on a slight uptick on a month-over-month basis as it relates to reliability, which is good, something we've been really focused on. Obviously, we ended the month, again, this is unaudited, and a couple of days into the month, it's right at 85%. We did start off the month pretty lackluster, if you will, from a ridership standpoint. We had winter weather events and some other things out there happening to us, but we did end the end of January. I will say we saw ridership numbers that we haven't seen since pre-COVID, if you will, and they continue to continue to tick up even this week alone. Not to suggest that we're back to pre-COVID numbers, but it's we definitely have seen an uptick in ridership. I think as other transit providers have seen as well. So that's very positive for us. We do not have any action items tonight, so Mr. Chair, that is my report.
What is, thank you, sir. Does anyone have any questions, comments, for Mr. Dalton? Okay, well, that was breaking. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Stay safe.
And public comments, do we have any?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, there were 3 comments that were submitted and copies have been printed are at everyone's.
So, okay, great, because to the point about public advertising, many times we don't have speakers and they email them in, we'll print them off, put them on your seats there. So Dr. Sally's gonna just kind of give you a brief overview of each of these, and so if you have any more questions outside of this, then Dr. Sally is your guy that will really help you to understand the history and the person. Pretty sure he's talked to all these folks, and then I'll just start over and let you go from there.
What we do is if we get an email, for public comment, staff replies to no reason to wait. Most of the time it's a concern or an issue, so we provide you a copy of the reply. We do follow up. 2 of them are related to restoration services for Mark Center. I'll cover this a little bit more. My executive directors of the board, but we're talking on DoD resources. That route is actually very low performer. So, so we're working through some other solutions there. And then the third one, we are very confused as to the reference, so we're just going to follow up to try to find out.
There we go. Okay. On to consent agenda. Can I get a motion? Second. Got a motion, Commissioner Allen, second, Commissioner Moore. All in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? Hearing none, the ayes have it. All right.
Yes, no key follow-ups from previous meetings other than Dr. Young had a question about some ridership data, et cetera. I believe staff has made contact, provided a report there. But I did want to mention, and I've already also care of this, we did have at your seats a copy of our annual report, which just gives an overview of the system. Please keep this like at your desk or a folder, so you're wondering what the heck is the service area. It gives you a nice quick look at what's going on, the types of things we do, what our ridership looks like, and we try to give you information, not just but we'd like to do this as well. Someone need one?
No, we switched seats, so we had my data.
That's not fair. Joe would be very upset.
Confuse you guys.
So service and ridership update, just as Mr. Dalton mentioned, we saw a rough start to the new part of the year between the New Year's holiday where it fell, winter weather, the King holiday, smaller snowstorms, very, very, very cold, suppressed ridership. However, pre-holiday levels immediately bounced back. The last 10 days of the year really helped overall your ridership be very similar to December. So to have a January with that many rough things happen in comparison to a traditional December, very good. We're very happy with that. One of the things we're keeping tabs on is overcrowding of the commuter routes, and we have to do validity versus perception. Some overcrowding this week, there was a fatal accident in the toll lanes. So what that translates into is our buses are stacked up. So the first bus is picking up what would be 6 buses a week. So there's overcrowding because we're waiting for the other 5 buses to get through the traffic load. So combination of that, and quite frankly, the last week, due to the protests around the Treasury, et cetera, just disrupts our usual travel pattern. Same exact scenario. So it's just we have to pay attention to that versus where do we have truly too many humans to fit on a trip for standard service. So we're paying very close attention, and where we do have overcrowding, we are providing resources. We have some flexible vehicles that we just call strategic. They are strategically placed at strategic times to respond to overcrowding and similar things. Really have to credit the operations team. The feedback from the operations team, operators are having passengers who have not ridden with us ever before, or maybe it's been 3-4 years. So they're just showing up at the park and ride lots, and their coworkers and fellow commuters are just saying, "Oh, you're going here? Get in line with me." Operators are saying, "Yeah, don't worry about it. Where do you need to get off? I'll make sure I stop there." So really have to commend the customer service. One of the things I just love about our workforce is they believe in the mission. Although they're not a federal worker, they don't work at the Pentagon, they believe in what happens at the nation's capital, and they are proud to come to work and help get people to work. And it really, we see it on TV, we're always supporting the mission. It's actually part of the DNA of our work. It's the case at Fairfax Connector, WMATA, et cetera, but especially because we are so much of a commuter service for the federal workers. We're proud of all that. As mentioned, we've had some questions about our Mark Center service. When the I-95 toll lanes were created, we put in some service to Mark Center, combined with that Mark Center megalith of a building along the 395 in Alexandria. That route has just never had strong ridership. We did things like consolidating the routes to try to drive the productivity up. There was just a finite number of people that were making that commute. But there's also service out of the Pentagon to Mark Center. So what we're doing is we're steering customers to fill those buses up. Part of it is also talking to DOD. DOD knows building capacity. DOD is aware of how many federal contractors there are, what's parking availability. And so they're aware of our pre-pandemic ridership limitations or aware of our budget limitations. And they're also helping steer and guide people to provide solutions as well. The very first week after the return to work order, we had customers calling. Well, what about, what are we going to do? We are responsive, as mentioned. We're watching the individual trips and we are paying attention. The good news is we have, especially for early morning trips, later morning trips, there's available seating, especially Mondays and Fridays. So now we're starting to see those seats fill, which is fantastic, and we're very excited about that. We will be doing more robust advertising of our monthly pass. That's very important because that way, when it snows, we still get money. That money, because we're still running the service, whether someone rides or not, collecting that revenue. Joe did the check last year when we released the new monthly pass for February. We had 4 people signed up. Now we have over 400. So we're generating over $1 million of fare revenue direct to us, regardless of weather, regardless of whether kids have the flu, federal holiday, all of those kinds of things. We're pulling in consistent revenue, which really helps our bottom line, makes us more predictable. Local bus ridership was more impacted by the snow than anything else, just because the different level of resources. But we still had Dale City, Route 1, and Dumfries combined for almost 23,000 rides. That's a lot of people for considering. One of our challenges is the roads are clear, but the sidewalks aren't. So that's one of the issues that we face with our customers come to us as pedestrians in some form of mobility, and that affects persons in wheelchairs, that affects anyone who just doesn't like walking on ice. So those are things that we try to work toward. We clear bus stops, so we can't clear all the sidewalks. So working hard on that. Metro Express service along the Route 1 corridor, also a strong performer, only down about 10% compared to December. So even though that should have really been hurt heavily, it performed very, very well. So we're very excited about that. Continue to let the service settle down from the big restructure in June. But more importantly, in November, we moved over to the NABSCO garage. So we're seeing how the drivers adjust the time points. Where are they struggling to make connections so we can make adjustments, giving some flexibility there. And we'll have a service adjustment this spring that'll make some improvements for reliability. We're continuing to work with the DMV Moves project, which is a combination of all the Northern Virginia, of course, WMATA and Maryland transit systems. There's subcommittees on fares, operational resiliency, bus stop signs, multiple subcommittees, and our staff is on all of them. So we're very, very actively involved in leading that. And so we're really focused on how do we continue to monitor the winter weather. I have to admit, the old way of doing things pre-pandemic was we ran things whether it was rain or shine, it was the same thing every time. Now with a much larger service area, we're talking from Front Royal all the way into DC, all the way down to Stafford, where the drivers are coming from. We have to be a lot more flexible and a lot more there's not the same level of infrastructure clearing lots at the same time. So the operations team is out there at 2 o'clock in the morning inspecting park and ride lots to make decisions. So we're able to do that and have a lot more information for our passengers. Really, really responsive, and that's good because if you're rigid and something goes wrong, it all comes apart very quickly. The operations and planning team communicating together has really made a difference in terms of how we're able to be responsive to our customers and give them the trips they need. As mentioned back in, the previous meeting, we had that big winter storm. We had no customers stranded. We had no drivers that couldn't get out of a parking lot somewhere. Everyone did a yeoman's job. I'm very, very happy. So with that, Mr. Chair, any questions?
Yeah, just a couple of questions. We're still no fares for the local service, right? But we are for commuter routes.
Yes.
Okay, so we do plan to kind of see some additional revenue with the return to work.
Yes.
Okay, and then just wanted to, for the new commuter garage, I haven't parked there yet, but how's it going so far in terms of people parking there? Is it?
Anecdotally, yes, we haven't really got a strong sense. It's only been about 10 days of consistent commuter behavior.
Yeah.
With the route switch over we did in December, we would be looking
It was right before the holidays.
Exactly. Aaron, do you have any sense? I know you're checking a lot. I don't think you're driving through the garage.
The last week or so, it noticed it picking up. I saw it in our end of January ridership. So yeah, it's still on the lower end of things, but it's better than it was when we first started. So people are getting to work. We're trying to access people that live on the Route 1 corridor and in the area that's right across from the Stonebridge, and get them to realize they don't have to go to Warner, they can just stay with it there.
Yeah.
So
Well, and the good thing is I'm still getting questions. Hey, what's this? It looks like it's a commuter garage and you can park right there. So that's good. And then I was actually over past the university lot today and it was really full. And so it looks like our commuting is getting a little bit better, which of course is going to help the revenues.
Great, yes, thank you. And thank you for the report, Dr. Schneider. Can you dig a little bit more into DMV moves and sort of where that is in the process?
Yes. The DMV moves, there's 2 different groups that are happening at the same time. SJ 28 was the Senate and House Joint Committee to examine, really focus on Northern Virginia potential streams of revenue. It really focused on the revenue question, looking at things like real estate tax, hot taxes, delivery fees. That means every time Amazon shows up at your house, they tack on 50-cent surcharge, things like that. That's the SJ 28. Separately, DMV moves is looking at comprehensively what does world-class transit look like, and they split it really into 2 elements. One goes up, and that's the elected officials, and they're looking at economic questions because it's driven heavily around funding WMATA on a more consistent level, but the same thing that would provide a funding stream to fund WMATA would also fund Fairfax Connector, us, etc. But that's that element. But they're looking at the service design, but service quality in front. Why is it that we have to have variations in fare collection? Or why is there variations among honorary transfers? Why is there variation among bus stop signage? Why is there variation among naming routes? Asking questions like that. We have fragmented transit services, the DMV. Much of that, quite frankly, driven by WMATA's contraction and transit. But what can be done? Also, we have a strong group of localities who like local control. And so that creates that dynamic responsibility that will raise it. It's a philosophical question. Can WMATA be as responsive on K Street as they can on the upper? It's just challenges like that. So it's how can we be consistent to at least have great customer service that makes it seamless to ride from Fredericksburg, whether it's you're on VRE, on a MARC train, an OmniRide bus, a WMATA bus, etc. And so the process now is they're really digging into the service quality components and stood up the subcommittees in December. So late November, early December is when the subcommittee started to meet, discuss. We are looking at things such as fare policy, information. One thing we're screaming about is we go 1 bus lane out of DC. So we get out of that. Like that would speed up so much traffic if just we could get out of the district quickly. Of course, the answer is always no, but we can ask. That's a lot of the groundwork in terms of what the elected officials are doing. Much of the conversation just attend the meetings, you'll hear there are philosophical questions of, for example, Maryland says heck no to hunting tax, whereas Virginia says heck no to sales tax. So how do you marry heck no's for what is in essence 3 districts of Virginia, the district, and Maryland will have different tax philosophies? What is permissible inside their code? Limitations on funding highways versus transit, what's necessary. Those are things that elected body is working through. And then how the different localities, even in Virginia, how we generate revenues, whether it's through a data center tax or whether it's through a property tax. Fairfax County's been hit heavily by the vacancy of real estate tax, so they're having questions and things. So it's figuring out what are all the levers and how can they come out with, probably by summer, some recommendation that maybe the body can agree on. Meanwhile, we're working on, can we have bus stop signs that maybe are a little more consistent? You know, and if you say, well, that's easy. Well, we have to have a different kind of bus stop sign in Virginia than we do in DC. So that's an interesting things that are allowed in Pennsylvania County aren't allowed in Maryland. So we're working through some of those concepts and designs, even the simple access to curb space. How hard is that? There are spots where we would love to stop the bus, but we are not permitted because we don't have access to curb space. They've actually zoned that out in Arlington around Alexandria, where we're not permitted to stop. So just examples. Appreciate it. Yes, sir.
See, I think this is a classic example of we should get the Department of Government Efficiency involved. Let me stop. Okay. Did I say hand on this? Anybody? No hand? Okay. So, all right, Dr. Snyder, thank you very much for that presentation. What we have is 2 action items. We have Dr. Snyder to just give a brief description of them both.
Oh, I forgot to give the general assembly update. Sorry.
We're all on.
Well, yeah, it's not-
Let's go.
The Virginia General Assembly updates.
Oh, thank you. Yes. We have really just.
So there have been 2 elements of the General Assembly this year. One is we've had great offense and we've had so far, I think, reasonably successful defense. On the offensive standpoint, our bill from Senator McPike passed unanimously in the Senate. So that has been on crossover and it's being assigned to the House. I'll be going down to Richmond on Tuesday. I've already been down twice to speak on behalf of the bills. Our bill did not survive House transportation, but that had nothing to do with its quality or its content. We'll just call it good old fashioned under the dome politics. But nonetheless, now that there's been crossover, we think everything will work out. And that's okay. So the other issue we've been facing is there's some legislation that could possibly affect the bottom line in terms of polling. There was also some issues related to other items that are likely that didn't make crossover. So we've had a good successful session talking to our delegation, and our delegation is large now because the delegation included me, meeting with Delegate Oates and Front Royal, all the way down to Delegate having barbecue with Delegate Orrock. So wide variety of individuals met with, in addition to meeting with Delegate Thomas, Senator Rome, all of our good friends in the Prince William Manassas, Delegate Maldonado, etc. So lots and lots of smiling faces as we work over the process. But I'll be down there on Tuesday to speak at House Transportation in support of that expansion bill, which lets us keep the Front Royal services and foreign services. That is the highlight there, and it's your way not oh, sorry, question. You want me to?
Yeah, just a question. Did anyone join me for the meetings from PRTC? I know I didn't, but did anyone? Okay, and I guess to our colleagues, maybe next year we should probably be more involved in going down there because this really impacts, you know, what we are able to service to our constituents. And so to be able to give Dr. Schneider some backup, maybe the legislative committee, you know, that's something we take on. And then also, you know, even, and again, not this year perhaps, but next year, you know, helping to testify, you know, on behalf of some of this legislation so that they can hear from us directly how certain things will impact our constituents that may be impactful. I know the challenge is we have so many legislative days between the chamber, between VACO, between VML,
House transportation met during vacation.
Yeah. Yeah, and so, you know, at some point, maybe we can have a regional discussion about how to marry some of those, so we don't have to go down every other day. to Richmond, but I say that to say, you know, we should consider being more involved in kind of the lobbying process.
Thank you. You ready? Yes, sir, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Welcome, commissioners. My name is Billy Wakefield, General Manager of Gildas. We do operation maintenance, so we're running buses, we fix the buses. To be brief, and I know that we're pushing 7:30.
No, it's okay. This is my thing.
We started a moment late.
Yeah, take your time on it, and we'll be your vote.
Slides too. So January was another good month, as indicated by Bob's presentation as well as Rich's earlier. Everyone had the same challenges with inclement weather, but overall another strong month. And so we had well, let me take a couple steps back because we do have new commissioners. So there's typically 3 slides that we go through. These are just indicators of our reliability, our service reliability, making sure that we're putting service on the road. As we rely on us, you see the ridership continue to go up. We have missed trips. And so for the month of January, even with inclement weather, we have 1 missed trip. You can see we've been on a path of continuous improvement. We're now sustaining that. You look back a couple months, you will see double digits. You look back 12 months before that, you'd see other digits been even higher. Don't need to get into details. In terms of vehicle availability, of course, if you have the vehicles available, we can deliver the service. We are at or above target and have maintained that over the last 12 months. Vehicle availability basically means vehicles ready to go. We're able to keep about a 20% spare ratio for our service. And 20% spare ratios allows us to do our preventative maintenance inspections, campaigns, and so forth. Miles between service interruptions, again, above target. This means that we're reliable on the streets. If we pick you up, we'll get you from origin to destination. That said, sorry. Happy to answer any questions.
I'll just simply say, to his point about the vehicle and the readiness, if you have the opportunity, it goes to what I was saying earlier. Like the maintenance facilities here and in the Western End, the team that works on these buses is pretty incredible. So, and I will tell you that they would love to see it. Just can't walk past that line. It's a line you can't from them, but they would love to see it just because what they do is so incredible to keep all these buses mission ready or operational. Pretty impressive. So that yes,
But not a comment, a question or a comment to piggyback off of that, you know. We're in this weird cycle where we only have really, really bad winter weather every 3 to 5 years. And but frankly, but knowing that your folks were able and flexible enough to react to the kind of cold weather and other things that we know can catch other transit systems by surprise, buses aren't turning on and folks are being in work on time. And then seeing only 1 missed trip and frankly a very chaotic winter weather in January is frankly, I just wanted to commend you for that, the kudos to you.
all right, we didn't let them go. Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you for that report.
Next item, I did want to just point out for new commissioners. Every month, what we do is we pick an article, a current article or something that's come out of either local newspapers, trades, et cetera, or maybe something out of just a trade journal. We grab the article and one of our staff writes a so what anything about how does it affect us. So again, if you were to go back into the past year, you would kind of see a history of what's going on in the industry and what it means to us. So William Phelps is our planner 2, joined the organization.
I'm sorry.
Our show was about. Yeah, Paris is going for the.
Rose cookie. He says nurse, it's just kicked in, she's like, wait, what's happening? Oh, you're right.
But we do have a nice.
So she was like, I'm off.
Sorry about it. But
All right, and then just, I encourage you to always read the industry article. It's typically designed to be done in 3 minutes or less. But it gives you a so what about how does what's going on in the general industry writ large apply here. So you come in as a commissioner a little more informed than you would have if you just read the article by itself. So with that, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Normally, we have a presentation, but we don't have one or information in this particular block. We're gonna move on to 2 action items. Catching up with that, I'm gonna ask Bob to kind of give a brief description of them and hope to bundle them both in one motion. So, Dr. Sarah, thank you.
Yes, Mr. Chair, item 11.1, we're purchasing replacement buses for local services. You saw in the example of what happens with newer fleet, et cetera. So we have an acquisition, those will be used in Prince William County, Manassas Park Service footprint. And then we also have the migration to upgrade our traffic cloud management services from local server to the cloud, something we've been planning on, is time to upgrade, get that done. It just exceeds my spending authority, so we're bringing it.
Well, thank you, sir. Can I get a motion? Second. Okay.
Yes.
So we got a motion, we got the second, and now we'll.
Questions.
Yes, Commissioner Moore is the second. Commissioner Allen's motion, Commissioner Moore's second, and discussion, or did you want to get?
No, I have a question.
Okay.
So for the bus fleet, where are we with, I guess I'll say like 100% replacement, because I know we started a couple of years ago. I'm trying to get up to date with our buses, and I think we're almost there by.
We just conducted a comprehensive review of our fleet replacement cycle. So Phil, do you have?
It's pretty well on time, and you know, the funding that we have projected, a lot of it was CMAQ funding that was help us get. That will help us make some additional replacements and to keep us basically on time. When I say on time, I'm referring to a 12-year life, useful life of a standard transit vehicle. And so most of our vehicles are well within that time frame. We do have some in our contingency fleet slightly over, but we've been really keeping a very good schedule with that. You will see in budget coming up in future years, probably about 5 or so years out, was a large purchase made that we'll have to pay attention to in terms of our replacement cycle, but we'll evaluate that.
Yeah, we've already appropriated the funding. This is just to put the contract out there.
Yeah, any more discussion? Okay, so all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Hearing none, the ayes have it. And now we're into chairman's sign. So I just want to say, welcome again, Commissioner Robinson. Commissioner Robinson. So normally this is the point, I don't know if I told you, but normally you all just buy one bus. And you can, I'm joking, that's just a job, but welcome, and really to all our new commissioners, welcome. And I was saying earlier to the commission, the newer commissioners, and all to you as well. This year, let's make a concerted effort to, under days outside of the meeting, stop by one of the east and west or east or west facility and just take a tour, walk around, say hi to the staff, and most importantly, talk to the operators, man. They will be very happy to see you, man. I'm telling you, if you can, you might just want to ask the dudes drive a bus around the park. But it's just cool to engage with them, so they really love that. So I just want to put that back up to the commission. And this year, let's try to do a real better job of that. And Commissioner Franklin, thank you for the legislative people, because I actually deemed myself. We were down in Richmond. I saw Father passing once. I know I should have been with him because he was down there doing work on behalf of PRTC. But it was just too crazy and I couldn't commit. So I really feel like we should make that a priority for this commission to be involved on a legislative day for Army Route for PRTC. So my comments, I'm gonna say, we're gonna go this way. I just want to actually step in and endorse Mr. Franklin and your notes for the assistance in this.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say, actually, our my public supervisor, protection, the same thing how now, with the growing need of the Commonwealth, that pretty much every jurisdiction, every entity that requires funding should be legislating and advocating for funding. So I love Supervisor Franklin's suggestion of the legislative committee, maybe because of our own personal roles, maybe we have the committee, figure out who can represent us with Bob. So leave that person, him or her, the one in advance. Who's gonna go and represent the RTC in the case that this supervisors can, or council people can, get down to Richmond. But I think that's actually crucial.
Just want to thank Dr. Bob and the staff for the great orientation prior to our meeting tonight, very informative. And just, I'm glad I'm here. Appreciate it.
So on March 5th and 6th, Urban Land Use Institute is going to be conducting its TAP to look at the Sudley corridor to help us figure out what the redevelopment from basically 66 to basically through the Sudley corridor looks like. And granted, Omniride has to be a very important consideration in all of this. And so so we'll be having some good meetings. Are you slated to be have you been invited to any of the meetings or anyone from some of your? All right, I'll make sure that you get on one of those 2 days, get
Bumped
involved.
into one of the consultants, they said, we'd love to have you, and I said, I'd love to participate.
You need to participate, and because I've been pounding the table that this is the, nothing's gonna change if we don't start building communities that are built around transit. So, and this is our opportunity to do that. So, so look forward to those conversations and seeing where that goes. Thank you.
I'll just say, thank you very much for the orientation earlier. It was really wonderful. I've been an alternate on PRTC before, and this, I'm embarrassed to say, that's the first time I've ever done an orientation. So luckily, Ms. Allen and previously, Supervisor Gary has attended, and so I haven't really had the need to be here, but great meeting, and thank you.
Yeah, well, thank you for the process. I think, as
I'm also grateful for the orientation. I feel like in the first couple of months in this position as director, I've been drinking from a fire hose and I've heard a lot of this, but after you have a little time and you sit through a really thoughtful presentation like that, it sinks in more. So thank you for that. And our merit application round just recently closed. So I'm happy to speak out and corroborate your earlier comments about PRTC and Omniride being a really great partner. We look forward to working with you even more.
So we will be getting that bus after all. That's right. Well, thank you so much, and thank you to our new commissioners for jumping on board. I sit on a lot of commissions in the region. I think this is one of the most collaborative, sort of facing ones that a bunch of us sit on. So just wanted to share that with you all that are newer to this. It's been said a couple of times and alluded to. I think that we are in for a very interesting year in terms of transit. There's a lot of stuff going on. We know that sort of the core of our commuter service goes into DC. So as much as we can continue to get feedback for our constituents, make sure that Dr. Snyder and his staff are keyed in on everything that's going on the ground. I think it'll do us well because we don't know how things will look in 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. And we know things are likely going to change. We'll have to be adaptable to those changes. So just wanted to say that. And the final piece is going back to something that's earlier, Gordy said, we're talking a lot in Princeton County around making more communities that are centered around people and transit and moving people beyond just jumping in cars. So as much as we can, collaborate on that, make sure that Dr. Snyder's in those conversations, because we got a lot of land use cases going through your district, my district. I know a couple others. As much as we can begin having more synergy and being more proactive, as also being afterthought with buses, I think we'll do well. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Yep. So I'm happy to be here. People have seen me many times thinking I wasn't an alternate or I wasn't a primary either, but simply because I wanted to be part of the conversation and stay informed when I do, have to be here. So I'm happy to get that orientation again. I've stated the more you hear about that information, you unpack it and you learn a lot more. I just wanted to share with my colleagues that transportation is not blue or red, it's bipartisan, and we need to work together to ensure that individuals get to work some way or the other. Garrisonville, where I live, this district is very dense, and the majority of individuals coming from either Garrisonville or Griffiths Whitewater that use transportation heavily to go up to Washington, DC. So I want to make sure that I do everything I can legislatively as well. We went down there, we just happened to run into each other. Prince William was heavy. Stafford County was heavy down there also. So we're doing our part. Just let us know what and where you want us, and we could combine efforts and make sure. We were just on a different trajectory because we need all the money simply for the schools. We're bleeding right now, and so that's why we're trying to get as much as we can for our children and our schools. So transportation is very, very important to us also, because these parents have to get to work. So with that, I'm happy to be here and to be of service to the community and staff again.
Welcome to our new commissioners, and I'm happy to be a resource if necessary. So.
Good evening. Welcome to all of our new commissioners, and I'm delighted to serve as your treasurer for another year. Yay.
Still competition. Something going on.
There it is. Ladies and gentlemen, Madam Vice Chair.
To all the new commissioners, I've only been on this commission for a year, and I will say that it is a very collaborative commission, and that everybody has been very helpful for me to get up to speed as well as I can be. But welcome, and I'm excited to be in the rest year.
Two things. One, didn't mention before, is I'm your, not just your executive director's commission. I am happy to help out. Questions, issues, you're looking for a charter company who does good work, give me a call. We can help steer you just 3 or 4 names. Having trouble with just generic issues, if it relates to transportation, we have a talented team of people who know a lot of humans. And so we are here to be a resource for you. But I am a resource for you as well. Technical policy, as is Ms. Pandak. So there are times when we just don't know the answer. She might be able to steer us to someone who does, if she doesn't know the answer to something. Second thing I want to mention is in between the orientation and the meeting, Commissioner asked a great question is, are there opportunities beyond these meetings to learn, conferences, meetings, etc.? And as a matter of fact, there is. Christine is going to send these official dates out. You're going to do that. They have officially announced that the Virginia Transit Association is going to be in Richmond this year. And it's not Rome. No Virginia Beach. No Virginia Beach. It is in Richmond, so Richmond is a good time to get to where to find it. But the date, typically we travel down the evening of what would be May 27th. One of the challenges we frequently find is the meetings overlap with your board of supervisors meetings. You house them on Tuesday. However, because it's a Richmond that's close, the meetings really don't kick off until mid-morning. So you could come down on the morning of the 28th. And the way the conference generally works is on the 27th, it's gathering, just making sure we're all down there. Then the next morning, the meetings start. And there's an expo depending on the year. There's different bus products, technology, fare collection technology, but also meeting other elected officials from the region or board members. Just a great chance to talk to people. The DRPT staff is there, so it's a great chance to talk to different people. Prince William County Transportation staff comes, NDTA comes, statewide participation. It's a great program. So evening of the 27th through the luncheon on the 29th. You're not mandatory on the 27th. What we do is we provide, we're figuring out whether we do a bus or we're going to do an Amtrak excursion. So we provide the transportation, get you down there, and then we provide the lodging. It's a really dirt cheap registration fee. Like 4 people for $200. No. No, there's no hotels. We're staying. We get the exact. Sleep on the run. The party bus. Okay, great sessions related to whether it's service quality, innovation, service design, implementation of technology, funding issues. DRPT gives an update. We frequently have FTA staff there. And then there's a luncheon on the 29th. It's a work ceremony and luncheon. It's a really great event. Let's see who went to Roanoke's. Brother Franklin, Brother Angry, Brother Angela, were you able to go with Roanoke?
Yeah.
That's good. So it's great opportunity. Please take note of your calendars because once we want to start the registration, we register to get the hotels booked and have everything arranged again. We cover the cost of the lodging, transportation, and
The cemetery is after budget season, so you're all beneath that.
right. Okay, that's
it. All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, keeping with my 30-minute thing, this was great. We have a lot of conversation. That was good for our first in-person meeting, so we'll do better next month. And with that, we are now adjourned. Yeah. No, you can. Oh, man.